one thing I'm going to say about timetable or time frame or whatever you want to call that, people often mistaken that as the plan.
Yeah,
I'm gonna,
yeah,
but
that's true.
And I get that, right?
They
So
see the calendar and they're
sometimes
like,
they
"Oh,
go,
that's a
"Can
great
you create a
plan."
communication plan?" And I'll be like, "Okay, well, I'll start to ask, what's your objective and who's the audience?" And no. I just want the table with the dates, who's writing it, tactics. I want that. And I think we'll get there. I promise we will get there. I know that's the meat of the plan, because you want to know, you want to see it all laid out
on a page, kind of thing.
But I think to get there, we got to do a little bit of upfront thinking, just like, we got to get those sections around objective, audience, tactics, channels. Like we have to just, we'll get there. I promise. So timetable, absolutely important. Things that you can do. Yeah. So I love everyone loves a good calendar, a good timetable, because then you get to map out like, okay, now we're going to do the email here. We're going to do this.
Something so nerdy about it. Everybody loves it. Does everybody?
Okay, maybe I love a good calendar. I know. I'm sorry.
100%.
Yeah.
So necessary.
But you get to see everything. Yeah. So, and I know that's what typically, yes, stereotyping, but and not just HR, but people want to see that.
They want that.
They want to map it out.
They don't understand necessarily that all the other stuff is what feeds that. That's
exactly
the end product. That's really not what you start with. Going, here's a blank calendar. I'm just going to fill in the blanks.
Yeah, we'll get there. But I guess what I want to say in this little section of timetable, time frame, whatever, is that we will get there. I promise we will get there. It's super important. We all want to get there because we want to see it's concrete, right? Like it's like, oh, now I know, like I said, now I know when the email is going and the video and all of these things. And you can also see like, oh, you can share that with your comms partner or someone who knows, like, again, like, if you don't have a large organization, but you share with someone who knows what else is going on. And they can say, oh, you know what? We can bundle that message with this president's message that's going out. Guess what? Now, like,
or if I can stomp on you the things we're practicing not doing.
All right.
Is what I call mid-air collisions.
Yeah, that's a good one.
So we've had this plan and it's great because we've got this
we're rolling out
something and it's going to be great. And you have everything's been worked out. You got your objectives, your key messages, who your audiences are, when you want to do things and how you want to do them. And it's all great. And then because, you haven't checked with anybody else to see what else is happening in the company, you find out that the day that you're launching this project, well, guess what? There's an all company meeting off-site.
Yeah.
That everybody's going to be at on that day. So everyone can get it in their email and maybe they'll look at their phone, but nobody's paying attention to it because nobody's actually in the office that day, that it's a day for something else. And we have, both Faye and I, when we've worked on really large projects, mergers, acquisitions, divestitures, the sorts of things that make everybody go, those mid-air collisions were everywhere.
Oh yeah.
Especially, you guys who work in HR, you'll know weeks, sometimes months in advance if there's going to be layoffs. And we're all working quietly in the background toward that date. And then you find out that some area in the company was doing like a team appreciation party on that day. And then things don't get found out because maybe that leader doesn't find out about this action, about the layoffs until 3 days before. And then like, oh God, we have a team party happening that day.
Yeah.
So, nothing we could do about that. But the point being, there's going to be mid-air collisions because there is so much information flying all the time that if there's something that you're working on that needs a communication plan, because it is that robust, it requires a communication plan, you are in your best interest to find out what else is going on in the organization on that same day or within that time frame so that you can, avoid stepping in it.
No, I like that. Yeah. No, absolutely. I'm going to add one more layer to that if I can, to this lasagna, right? Now I'm hungry. I'm really hungry. One of the things I was thinking about as you were talking about those mid-air collisions and looking at the organization, and this reminds me, some of the feedback we received in our survey was also about understanding what else in HR is going on.
Oh, yes. So I think a few people said that.
Yeah. And what's interesting is that, so your COEs or centers of excellence, or, like they'll have programs and projects, right? And I know it's easy, and I'm not, again, HR is not the only one who does this, but it's easy to sort of so, okay, here's
Yeah.
what we need to communicate or
yeah.
we need to like roll out. And I think it's important to also look across HR. That was some of the feedback, is that
Yeah.
what else is going on in, I don't know, talent acquisition, or what else is going on in compensation? Because there are because what you might find, and maybe not, but we might find that there are opportunities to bundle that
Yeah.
information.
Yeah.
And I think that's more, and that will land better for whomever your audience is, right? Like if you have shared audiences, if you have your timings, like is there wiggle room to move some of that timing, right? Like
Yeah.
of whatever you're announcing. I think it's just really important. I think the other thing, if I could add one more thing, is your employees, especially your recipients, they hear from HR. They may not necessarily care that it comes from performance management or talent activation, or what they see is HR.
Yeah. And then they're like, why am I getting
five
emails,
messages,
whatever, from HR, but just a different department within HR.
Yeah.
And I'm the employee. Like,
Yeah.
to me, HR is one thing.
Yeah.
So align and give me one email to read, or, whatever. Don't give me 10.
Yeah.
Because it gives the impression
that you're not coordinated,
and everybody thinks they're special and beautiful and all the rest. And I'm sure you are.
And you are.
But for the sake of your audience, simplify.
I think it's getting better. I've seen really good HR departments or areas really try to get in front of that. I know you always trip, and hey, again, we're not crapping on HR today. That's not the point of this podcast. We've seen it. We've been there too. Like, I have this big project, Tracy. And you're like, well, wait a minute. We can't say that because we're saying the opposite in this other area, right? So
maybe we got to revise. Let's rethink how we're going to position everything.
Exactly.
Because, we have a brand new employer brand, and isn't that great? And the next day we announce layoffs.
Oh,
that wouldn't go very well.
Aww.